And hi, that's for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This is your new moon in Aries solar eclipse reading and what to expect. Middle of your spread, you got Nine of Cups in the reverse. So that tells me that you started to gain some type of victory over conquering your self-confidence and lack of it. You're coming out of your comfort zone, and a lot of your wishes are starting to manifest. You know, there's a feeling of gratitude with the Nine of Cups in reverse. That's a great card actually to have in reverse. On top of that, you got Two of Pentacles in the present aisle, and you got Ace of Swords in the reverse. So with the Two of Pentacles, it could have been that the last 2 months into the past 2 years, for some of you, you've been able to juggle. You've been able to rob Peter to pay Paul. And you're good at maintaining your priorities, and you're getting better at time management, air signs. You're finding the balance, you're multitasking, and you're persevering with this Aries fiery energy. There's a lot of, you've already you've been on, for some of you, specific energy here. You've been patient, and one of your greatest virtues is patience, and you've learned that with yourself and others, and especially when it comes to money. For some of you, you've worked so hard in the most uncomfortable situations or circumstances. Some of you warehouses, some of you companies that are just so corrupt, and I feel like you had a breakthrough and you started making informed investment decisions, and a lot of you left that, with the Nine of Cups here, and you researched other ways and how to diversify your portfolio and stay patient with achieving long terms and financial growth. So, Aquarius, you're here to teach that to other people as we access the quantum financial system, and we can have another conversation about that stuff, and I can lead you to some links on people that can educate you on that, because we are headed in that direction, all of us, whether we like it or not. So there's Aquarius is good at really like setting specific financial goals, air signs in general, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, with what I don't know why I keep speaking to a specific Aquarius, but there you go. So you guys are you know how to achieve financial goals. Like, you're good at this, you innately do this, you know how to balance, right? A lot of you have those lawyer instincts and skills to be able to achieve and create a timeline and implement a plan to reach those objectives, and still nurture each other people. It's beautiful, the Queen of Pentacles energy, as long as she's in balance, because she's a nurturer, she's a giver, she likes to share her resources, she likes to help those in need, but as long as it's not on a low frequency where it's where you're not. Speaking of Queen of Pentacles, my mom just texted me at 3:06. I don't know what it is, but it's funny how we're talking about it, because she's a very mother archetype here, and she's very protective, she's generous. This is what mothers do. They nurture, they're practical, they provide what they can, and they're very down to earth about it. They're very grateful, and they're very social conscious in their roles as a mother. But some of them can kind of baby too much, right? Like, if it's like, especially if the person is blocked, you want to kind of not enable them to rely on you financially and teach like this, because if this is a person that is being supported, or whether that's supporting someone around you, they're very innovative in their thinking. They cultivate that, they embrace creativity, but they got to get out of a little bit. They don't know how. There's a lot of with the Ace of Swords here, it could be that they keep not able to release some painful loss, like whatever they went through, or they're not in a job that's really motivating, right? They're just struggling. And if this is you, this is your energy, come in and book a session with me, because I feel like in order to get closure and heal whatever this block is, for me it feels like not learning from mistakes with money, not learning procrastination, the lesson of that, and feeling blocked and distracted and having unrealistic goals, right? Like, I think in order for us to truly evolve into our own independence and self-sovereignty, speaking from my own personal experience, we cannot rely on anyone. We have to build and go within and deep and know that everything we need and all the answers we're seeking is within. And that's why a sense of there's like life can become overwhelming and sometimes unmanageable, but now is a great time to reach out for help, right? You'd be surprised at how many people are willing to help you and support you, and I can share those miracles sometime on my channel. But you are definitely being encouraged at this time to move on, to gain closure and healing from the past that is keeping you in these patterns on having to depend on someone. And it's not an easy thing to look at our money issues if we have them, but once you do start to develop a habit of saving, even setting aside a small tiny portion, and automatically, like an emergency, and like having an emergency fund for any financial security. I had to learn the hard way on this creative path that I need that nest, because there are going to be times when it's slow in business. There are times that I may not make as much as I made 6 months ago or 2 months ago. So I'm truly learning strategic planning and developing a lot of financial integrity, right? And trying to learn to create actionable steps. Time management and procrastination have been two of my biggest personal blocks, but for some reason the last 3 months I had to witness something within my financial realm that brought me to the realization. I mean, it's not the first time this lesson came around. I just didn't do anything about it, right? So, but I was able to get through it. I got through the anxiety, and it requires a level of patience, right? Paying off the creditors, the bills, and cleaning your credit up. And like, I'm truly like starting to really focus on reviewing my progress and staying on course with everything, with like, saying what I mean what I say, and creating a path, even if I don't have a certain amount in my account to pay a certain bill yet. I show up with my gifts. I show up to the world, putting time in here and moving away from old mentality that I have to go work, so that I can create a paycheck. No, I just have to show up. I have to, the universe is saying yes to me. This is believing that the impossible can be possible, because I saw it just me pouring into my YouTube channel and the social media, and really breaking those barriers, and a lot of unexpected blessings, miracles, and success, and alliances, sacred alliances in all higher levels, on all the realms, and even in the physical, earth angels coming forward. And I'm like, wow, I said yes to me and showing up more. And it's the same thing when I was about to leave my teaching career. I started putting time, more effort into learning, taking readings professionally online, and then I finally built that. But I feel like I'm meant to be out here. Something's calling me to develop my social media presence, because there's a whole world waiting there. And then here we are. There's like whatever, even that like I had to put my faith in the power of this spiritual grace. And even in the most, I'm going to say, convincing limitations, there's no match for the power of spirit. Let me tell you, the perseverance, the grace that comes through you when you truly just stay on course, and not get distracted, right? With like staying, when you move towards fear, doubts, and anxiety, air signs, because you tend to think a lot, and you're in your air energy, right? Most of the time it's hard to sometimes remind yourselves to ground. And what happens is when you feed into the fear, doubts, insecurities, the negative mindsets, thoughts coming through that don't belong to you, you become disloyal to faith and the unseen truth that you are feeling drawn to do, right? You're not being loyal to what it is that you want to manifest if you feed into fear. So I started to realize how capable of more than I was able to realize. Like I had to consider upping my dreams and visions to match my potential, right? Go bigger, and never give up on my optimism that I've always had. A part of me, I've always, been consistent. I'm not really, yes, we all have our moods, but for the most part, for most of you that know me, I'm consistent, and I'm not really, I kind of handle my moods much better these days because of a lot of spiritual grounding that I work on and practices. And so, I'm learning how to source my inflow of spiritual energy and blessings and grace into the world, and I'm trusting that things are going to work out more beautifully, because they are, more than what I currently imagine for myself. It's really a limiting belief to think that this is, like, YouTube is going to be the one of the biggest places I'm going to be seen, and who knows where else, right? That's so limiting. Don't just focus on one thing at a time, but just remind yourself the answer to the question, and when you're doubting, is the universe is saying yes, right? So let's pull you an advice card from this deck, air signs. That came out right away. You got Ace of Swords, right? Ace of Swords again. So it's like, it's about, like, redemption. It's about taking the first steps. Redemption is the first step to exaltation. Keeping an open mind and having, ideal ideas, and making a good plan and clear vision, and setting intention, and having that desire to rise and climb and find truth, and using your intensity and putting that into a singular focus. That is what, cutting out the bullshit of your life, cutting out, any doubt, cutting out any discord, irrational, destructive ways of thinking, unproductivity, clouded judgment, and thinking back on missed opportunities. All that is getting cut out within the next 1 to 6 months from whenever you're hearing this reading, air sign.